If you think Stalingrad isn't worth the 2 million, you're just bad at the game.
Alright guys, all jokes aside, Julie Games back here with the impressions on the Stalingrad, and it's nuts. It has a handful of downsides, but the things that it's really good at, it's generally very consistent with, and as long as you don't give away the weaknesses of the ship, there's not much a lot of people can actually do to stop you. Honestly, the only things, and I mean really, like, the only things that will consistently really kind of screw you over are destroyers, but you do have a radar to somewhat deal with them. The only thing that you're lacking, obviously, is the DPM and the shorter radar compared to Alaska to actually consistently kill them when you do have them spotted. But other than that, this is an absolute bully. Going from, there has been many times where I've just erased Ochakovs, which is such a nice thing to be able to do because it seems like every other gun in the game just overpins the dang thing. And the AP, I guess let's just start at the AP. The shell velocity, while I'm not too sure, it's easily in the 950 plus meter per second. I would have to probably check the PC stats to do that. But shell velocity is Superman-esque. You point and click with this thing. I'm going to be honest, since you only have AP, I think overall it's a net benefit. You know, you losing out on HE, there's going to be some times where HE is definitely the better shell selection. But for the most part, this AP, with its improved penetration angles, the short-fused AP, and the shell velocity, 95% of the time, AP is going to be your best ammo to use. And since that's all you have, as we take a blind shot at this Worcester, oh, it is so filthy. It's disgusting. And there's a couple. I've compiled basically 3 different games, and I've clipped them. And it's just basically this ship just either just running through people or just doing ungodly things at range with the guns. Something like the Worcester here. I don't think he's running EOP. I wasn't really paying attention to see if he was actually damaging me, but it looks like he isn't. You have so much armor, but besides the bow and stern being 32 mil, you also have an icebreaker, like a 50 mil icebreaker. So while Yamato can overmatch 32 millimeters of bow, it's going to be very difficult for the Yamato to actually citadel you bow on, because they will pin you through the upper nose, but the lower nose, it's not going to pin into your citadel. So also having the 50 mil deck is just, it is an ungodly tanky machine. And honestly, I'm going to be comparing it a good bit to the Alaska. And the biggest question is it worth 2 million GXP? And the weirdest thing, and the thing that I have to come to grips with, especially since me and the other CCs have got it on a loan, so essentially what I realized is, hey, I think this ship is amazing, but I have to realize that I have got this thing essentially for free. So when you get something for free, especially when something like this seems pretty dang good, I'm not going to be as harsh because if I had invested 2 million at GXP, the things when it doesn't go the exact way you want it to, you're going to be a little bit more critical. And since I have essentially invested nothing to get this ship, it's just like, man, this ship is so good. But I feel like I would definitely be a little bit more, maybe not as impressed if I had sunk in so much resources and all that kind of stuff. However, with that being said, I am 100% getting the Stalingrad. I have a lot of GXP to gain. And as soon as I get 2 million, I will be getting the Stalingrad for myself. I really think it is that ship. Again, we're just blowing through this team. We blew through the Ochakov, the Destroyer, the Worcester stood no chance. We come around, and unfortunately that Iowa had his guns turned for the gearing. I was kind of hoping to catch him off guard, but as soon as you angle, there's just nothing. There is nothing people can do. This curve first is shooting AP. Aside from superstructure shots and maybe hitting my turrets, I'm just bouncing everything. And the game ends, we kill him. This is at the start of the match. This is probably my fastest 200k game. And it's just... It is just brutal. We see the Alaska come up here. The Alaska is actually turning in, which is going to be a little bit unfortunate. However, with the short fuse AP arming on the superstructure, just a casual 15, 17k shot there with AP. And AP is something that you can't heal. I mean, you can definitely heal it a little bit, but for the most part, AP damage sticks. And again, we're just getting all of our guns firing here. We're already at 32,000 damage. And I guess the reason why I'm angled out here is mostly because I'm the only target over here that people could reliably shoot. And angled in or angled away, you're still very, very tanky. So if I was to go bow in here, I would be a little bit more, I guess, I would say not vulnerable, but I wouldn't be able to reliably get all three of my guns on target. And that's what I've actually come to find out is, especially early game, since you have so much range, I'm using Kuznetsov with intuitive, obviously, because you can see that I have the indicator pointing to the nearest ship. Running AP, and my phone is going off. I apologize for that. And being in a spot where I am now, kind of a little bit angled away, just getting your damage and all your guns downrange, you are going to catch broadsides, because at the max range for these shells, which for me is about 20 kilometers, it only takes 10 seconds for them to get there. So you can reliably smack just about anything in this game at pretty max range. And what I'm really doing here is I'm kind of just biding my time. I'm far enough away to where people are going to start kind of ignoring me, but I don't want to go further than this. And the reason why I'm a little bit further than where I would like to be is simply just because I'm the only target that is out here, and I honestly don't want to get in too much of an engagement between a Yamato and whatever battleship is behind there that was spotted, and also the Alaska. So once they stop paying attention to me, what I'm going to do here is I've angled out, and I'm using my armor. You see I've taken basically no damage so far. And once they start forgetting about you, once this Alaska turns in and starts ignoring me, and once I can pay attention to the guns for the Yamato, you push in. And I'm going to push in and basically just pinch through this A-cap. And the results are kind of scary. This ship is just... It is... And I made a Facebook post and I said... And I posted a comment that was like, Alaska is the best BB in the game, and I had so many comments going like, oh, it's a cruiser, it's not a battleship. I understand that it's a cruiser, but you have the Alpha Strike and the Citadel capabilities to hit like a battleship, and that's what I meant. And in my opinion, hitting those shots, it is the most consistent guns in the game. For AP. Obviously, you don't have HE. But we have a Roma at 17 kilometers here. This is where we start pinching in, and we start getting close. We're angled. We have all of our guns firing. People are angling in towards other targets, and we're catching broadsides, and we are catching broadsides. This Roma, even though he's pretty far away, you can see it only takes about 6 seconds for my shells to get there. And he's just selling broadside, and we're just taking pot shots, and it's pretty filthy. We're hitting upwards of like 70 or 80% of our shells, and it just gets the consistency of the guns and the striking power that you have is just unmatched in my opinion. Obviously, the dispersion can get pretty trolly, and I am running a full dispersion build, AL Scharnhorst and Scott for the, because basically since it only has its guns and it only has AP, when people show you broadside like that Yamato, you want to make the most out of that shot because you don't want to get into too many prolonged engagements. If you can catch a broadside, you want to be able to do the most damage possible. So that's why I've opted for the best accuracy, essentially, that it can be. Yamato is just gone. It's it's filthy. And this is where I was saying I was kind of kited out, still using my guns, getting the damage. And then now once we can pinch in, we have so many angles on these guys. And this Roma, not learning from his previous mistakes, is still just kind of just doing his thing. I have no idea what this guy or what game this guy is playing. But Stalingrad at this range against a broads like that is just, it's not going to do well for the enemy people. And Alaska is quite angled here. And we're essentially, we haven't taken hardly any damage. And look at this salvo here. Look at it go. Oh man, just every time you shoot these guns, like every time on a broadside target, almost no matter what range, if you're hitting the broadsides, it's easy, like a 10k salvo guaranteed, if not more, if you're not hitting citadels. Look at the back turret of justice coming in clutch here. Double citadel. God, the guns. These are the most fun guns in the game because when people screw up, when they show you broadside, these guns take advantage of it. And there's been so many times in this game where someone shows broadside, if you're in a battleship, if you're in a cruiser, whatever, and you just feel like they don't get punished like they should. But these guns are a huge breath of fresh air for me, at least. We don't get any citadels on this Massachusetts, but again, a solid 8k AP damage salvo on a Massachusetts with just the front guns, I'll take it. So we just hit the 200,000 damage mark right after the 7-minute mark in the game. So we're just flying through these targets, and it is this ship is just such a bully. And unfortunately, we do lose this game. We don't show the entire thing, but just wanting to show you like the penetration and the damage that these guns can do. ZF6 is angled away at like 12, 13 kilometers. If we just hit 5 shells on him there, it's ungodly. And honestly, this is going to be kind of definitely like a highlight of it, but honestly, I felt like that was the best thing to really show because the name of the game for this ship is its guns and its AP. So I feel like that's something that you need to take into consideration. Your lack of utility, therefore, is your utility for this ship is the guns. And even though we don't have HE, we still just smacked that Shimakaze pretty well. And we hit 8 shells there, and that game ends up being lost because our 2 destroyers are kind of just not doing what they needed to be doing. But this game is another game where I pulled away from my flank, and I just wanted to start to get angles on these guys, and you see me kind of start turning in here, and we're just trying to take the most optimal shots that we can. We're angling towards the Yamato. Even at super almost max range, we just smack an Alaska for about 20k or so, and a Citadel. Do take a decent chunk from the Yamato there, but nothing too crazy, and as soon as I see that the Yamato is shot, I'm taking my time to actually turn out here. Had to keep a pretty good eye on all the targets that were out there, but we still slightly missed the Alaska. We didn't lead him enough, and we still take 10k. So like I feel like every time you shoot these guns and they don't just flat out dodge, your shells are going to be hitting for it, like just at least some significant amount of damage. Like we only hit 2 shells there, but it was almost 5k. I would take a 5k AP salvo over probably a 7 to 8k HE salvo, just because it's less healable. It's damaged, it sticks. Again, the Yamato is angled there. We still hit him for 6k. And it's honestly just astounding how much damage these guns can put out, because obviously you want to be shooting broadside targets and you want to get in positions to where you can take advantage of broadsides, but even on bow and targets with the short fuse AP, even in the stream that I had playing it, I was consistently getting 5k salvos against almost anything, if not more. So we're in a pretty decent spot here. I don't want to push in just yet. We're down pretty heavily already. The game really is just not getting started, and we're already down 2 ships, and we've essentially lost the sea cap over there as well. So we can assume that we're going to be losing that flank, and it's not until about 2 minutes from now where we get our chance to push in. And I think that's really the name of the game for this thing, is figuring out how to take advantage of your range and also your penetration early game to get as much damage and weaken as many targets as possible. Again, we barely hit that Alaska and we still did 4,000 damage. Like, the guns just, it's like Christmas. The guns just keep on giving. Toggling our throttle here, dodging shots when necessary. And again, obviously with these guns, you can hit turrets and you can actually incapacitate them quite a bit. You can see I've already taken out 2. Tirpitz is almost 19 kilometers away. We have the back turrets going for him. He's healing just a little bit, but look at that dispersion, man. Tirpitz is just gone. Just a 6,500 back turrets level onto the Tirpitz that far away. Just basically erasing him from the game, because that was a pretty significant threat over there. If that Tirpitz had will to rebuild and was able to heal, this game might have been a little bit different, because as you can see, our carrier has yet to figure out that he is in a pretty compromised spot, because they still have a DD over there. I think it's a Z-23 and also the Alaska. And this is kind of where this spot right here is. I'm about to start my push, but I'm waiting here. If I can get rid of this Yamato, I can easily take on an Alaska, or I can easily take on the Amagi and the Kansas. So I'm waiting. They spot the DD. They're kind of tunnel vision, and they kind of forgot where I was. But now I have their broadsides, and Stalingrad does not take any prisoners. We almost erase him there, but really, really significant damage, almost guaranteeing us that we would be able to kill him in the next salvo. So now is where we start the push. We have basically all the advantages. There's a lot of targets that these guys have to pay attention to, and with our armor, we can be very resilient. We still have all of our heals. So again, salvo on the Amagi, 5k, but also a turret incapacitation. So if you're not getting just flat out damage, you're making people, you're incapacitating the guns, you're taking damage, making them use their damage con, front turrets only, another 8k salvo. Oh, I am very sad because I will not be able to play this ship Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the loan for the CCs will end then. So I'm going to be playing this ship quite a bit just to get my AP fix, I guess. And oh man, I really think, I mean, 2 million is definitely a lot. It's definitely the biggest investment of resources that this game has ever seen. I think a much better place would probably be maybe like 1.5 million, but I don't think that we will ever go over 2 million. So whenever they decide to do this again, I think that we could see maybe 1.5 million GXP for a ship. But, you know, really, to me personally, there isn't many options in the GXP ship. You know, I didn't get the Paulo Emilio, and I'm really glad, because I would be really upset if I got the Emilio only to figure out that the Stalingrad was coming out like a couple weeks later. And I don't know. I like consistency. I don't really go for like the meme kind of stuff. And when I invest in a GXP ship, I'm saying to myself, the amount of times that I'm going to play this ship, is it worth the grind that I did for it? And for me, something like the Paulo Emilio, I would have played it a handful of times, gotten a couple like meme games, and been like, okay, that's fun. But like consistency, like I didn't really see myself playing it enough to warrant the price tag. And at least for Stalingrad, I think the consistency is there. I would like to see. I'm definitely not a big fan of 2 million, but I highly doubt they're going to release a GXP ship, at least a new one, anytime soon. Especially with kind of dropping this 2 million bomb on us here. I think the only GXP ships that we're going to get into at least Christmas would be just campaign ships. So if you already have all the campaign ships, there's essentially probably nothing new coming down the pipe. So I think Stalingrad is worth it. It's a really heavy price, but if you like battleships, or if you like something like the Alaska, this is going to be your wet dream. And Alaska at 15 kilometers, a little bit angled out, just gone. He's just gone. So, anyways, guys, I hope you guys got to see at least the strengths of this ship, but also when we took a little bit of a beating from that Iowa. If you do show broadside, you will not have a fun time in this ship, but if you know how to angle, the armor is fantastic. The guns, for the most part, are super consistent, and they will you're going to be printing citadels. So, anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this. I, Chili Games, think the Stalingrad is worth it, and I will be getting it as soon as I get the 2 million GXP after this CC loan ends. So, anyways, guys, y'all have a good one. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.